Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. Feel free to interact with me and hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Sr. Love chopping it up with the Niner gang. On the docket for today's video, we're doing a 49ers Bengals preview. Really big matchup with playoff implications on the NFC side for San Francisco and on the AFC side for the Cincinnati Bengals. First up, let's take a look at the 49ers injury report. Emmanuel Moseley, this is really a massive blow to the Niners defense. He has not only been their best cornerback this year, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. If you take a look at the analytics, he's going to be out multiple weeks, according to Kyle Shanahan, because of that ankle injury that he suffered in that Seahawks loss. Elijah Mitchell, his status moving forward to Sunday, a little bit unknown, a little bit hairy because he's in concussion protocol as he took that shot late in the game. So too is Trenton Cannon. Opening kickoff of the game, he got hit really hard. Had to go off the field by way of ambulance. He, too, is in concussion protocol. Jeff Wilson, coming off that meniscus injury, knee flared up. His status for Sunday's game also in question. Deebo Samuel, Fred Warner, kind of day-to-day right now. When Deebo Samuel suffered that groin strain 2 weeks ago against Minnesota, it was expected to be a 1 or 2 week injury, but you never really know with those soft tissue injuries. Fred Warner, on the other hand, expected to potentially be back at practice on Wednesday. He has a hamstring injury. Something to monitor here going into this game. We know that Kyle Shanahan's strength with this offense, his forte is running the football. Well, they have some problems with their running back core right now. Elijah Mitchell, he is in concussion protocol. Trenton Cannon in concussion protocol. Not sure what the situation is going to be with Jeff Wilson with that knee injury. Right now, as of this current moment, JaMycal Hasty, the only healthy running back on this roster. As for the defensive backs, this is a passing attack with the Cincinnati Bengals that's really legit, with legit weapons. Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and others. And right now, the only healthy starting quarterbacks pretty much, it's Dante Johnson, it's Deommodore Lenoir, and it's Josh Norman. Not good news for an already thin secondary for the 49ers that right now is even more thin. So before we really dive deep into this preview and breaking this game down, who do you have on Sunday in this game in Cincinnati? Type SF for the 49ers, type CIN for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be the pinned comment, so make sure you get those predictions in. I'm going to circle back to see who was right and who was wrong. Be sure to get those predictions in right now. I want to take a gander at the NFC Playoff Picture because things are really starting to get interesting in the NFC as well as the AFC. I think it's a foregone conclusion that San Francisco is not going to catch the Arizona Cardinals, and I don't think any team in this division is going to catch the red-hot Cardinals, especially with Kyler Murray back. So right now, in order, it goes Cardinals in that one spot, followed by the Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dallas Cowboys. Where we're going to focus in on and hone in on is the wild card race right now. Of course, expanded playoff format for the second consecutive year, and if the season were to end right now, the 49ers would be in there in that final and 7th playoff spot in the NFC. We're going to be scoreboard watching for the rest of the regular season, taking a look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles at 6 and 7, Minnesota Vikings, Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, all at 5 and 7. On the outside looking in, it's the New York Giants, Chicago Bears, and those feisty Seattle Seahawks at 4 and 8. The good news for San Francisco, they beat Philly on the road. They beat the Vikings at home. Right now they have the tiebreaker. So even if they lose Sunday's game, they'll still have that 7th spot locked up because they own the tiebreakers over the Birds and the Minnesota Vikings. As for the AFC playoff picture, as big of a game this is for the 49ers this weekend, it's also a massive game for the Cincinnati Bengals. You see them locked up at the 6th spot in the AFC at 7 and 5. But really, the AFC North is to be had as well. Bengals are one game behind the Baltimore Ravens, who are at 8 and 4 right now. Pittsburgh with a big win over those aforementioned Ravens at 6-5 and 1 right now. This is why NFL football is so great. This is why the product is so intriguing. This is why it's must-watch television every week, because we don't really know, outside of New England, in my opinion, which teams are in the mix in the AFC. And outside of really the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers, who do you like in the NFC? Playoff drama is on and popping, and we're going to have you covered right here on the 49ers Report. As for the betting matchup for Sunday's game, I thought the line was pretty interesting. Right now, Cincinnati, 1-point favorites. 49ers, underdogs on the road. I think that could have to do something with a lot of the injury issues going on with this franchise right now. Over-under set at 47.5. Not sure what the weather is right now in Cincinnati. A little bit too early to tell. That's something to watch too. Given this game is in Cincinnati and the weather there can get cold, it can get bad. We'll take a look at that over-under as the week progresses. Today's show and this Bengals preview brought to you by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. They are offering a 125% deposit bonus for all first-time signups. All you got to do, go to chatsports.com/49bet, enter the promo code Niners125. You put in $100, for example, you get $125 back only if you use that link, as well as that promo code down below. Couple of things that I'm kind of looking at for the 49ers moving forward to Sunday. They're shorthanded, they're on the road, and the pressure is on. I really don't think you can afford to lose back-to-back games, even if the 49ers would still be in 7th place in the NFC. Control your destiny. You choked that game away against the Seahawks by playing really sloppy. People want to blame the refs. I point to 3 turnovers. I point to a safety. I point to special teams blunders. And this team just choking that game away against an awful Seahawks squad. The pressure is on. I want to see how San Francisco rises up and if they rise up to the occasion. As for Joe Burrow, it's going to be a tall task for this Niners defense with that injured secondary. He's having a really good year, too, after his rookie campaign, after going number 1 out of LSU to Cincinnati, was cut short because of that disastrous knee injury in which he tore his knee up against the Washington football team. Really good year, too, despite the interceptions. He's thrown a league-high 14 picks, but he's completing around 68% of his balls. He's already thrown more than 3,100 yards, average yards per attempt, a very, very good number at 8.3. There is an injury that he did talk about, and he did suffer in that loss on Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers, a dislocated pinkie. Now, he doesn't think it's going to keep him out of this game on Sunday, but if it gets worse, he did acknowledge he could miss some time. And if the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow, they ain't the same squad. Burrow on that finger injury, quote, "It's just something I'm going to have to deal with. I am not going to miss any games because of it. Unless it somehow gets worse, which I can't imagine it's going to, I am going to play next week." Beware of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow can carve you up. He's put up really good numbers this year. He has a really good supporting cast. You got Jamar Chase. You have T. Higgins. You have Joe Mixon. Really good weapons on this Bengals squad. And if you take them for granted and you don't buy into them, Joe Burrow's going to carve you up. He's a really confident dude, cool, calm, and collected. I love his swagger, and he's been putting up digits this year, namely to a guy like Jamar Chase. First-round pick out of LSU. During that national championship season back in 2019, the magic was really working between Burrow and Chase. It's working in their first year together as professional athletes. 55 catches in his rookie campaign, 958 yards, 8 touchdowns, average yards per catch at 17. So Jamar Chase this year has been a big play threat. They can line him up anywhere on the field, in the slot, outside. He has had the propensity to drop a lot of balls this year, so the ball security hasn't necessarily been there. But I'll tell you this, it is not ideal for the 49ers secondary to be going up against a fast-rising Bengals offense, an offense that can really light up the scoreboard, an offense that has had really good performances against good teams like the Baltimore Ravens. It's been a Jekyll and Hyde season for Cincinnati, so I'm not sure which team we're going to get. Are they the team that went on the road and dominated Baltimore? Or are they the team that came back home and lost against this past weekend Los Angeles Chargers? A Jekyll and Hyde squad, but it's certainly not ideal for this 49ers secondary to be shorthanded. So do Burrow and Chase worry you? Not me, Chase. Jamar Chase. Although if I was running down the seam, I'd be a threat to opposing defenses. Type 1 for yes, they worry you. Type 2 for no. Be sure to get those votes in the comment section. We appreciate our audience interaction here at Chat Sports. Lastly, my keys to victory, and I'll run through these quickly. You just got to find a way to win. 49ers are on the road for the second consecutive week. They're beat up. Their confidence is a little bit shattered coming off those Seahawks cobwebs. This is a good team in Cincinnati. Find a way to win. Also, no self-inflicted wounds like the wounds that we talked about last week. You cannot afford to shoot yourselves in the foot because that gives teams life and opens up the opportunity and the door for them to steal a dub instead of you stealing a dub. And I don't even care if the 49ers steal this win. I just need a dub. We need a win as a whole. Also got to win the turnover battle. During that 3-game winning streak, 49ers had won the turnover battle and really owned it 6-1. What happened against Seattle? 3-3. Turnovers change the momentum of games. Turnovers really decide games. Can't lose that turnover battle. No special teams breakdowns, and you have to limit the big plays, because if Cincinnati, a young team with a lot of inexperience in some of these big games, does get that momentum, they are a very and more dangerous squad. So before we get out of here on this segment, predict the score on Sunday between the Niners and the Bengals. I'm going with San Francisco to find a way in an ugly, slow-paced game, 24-21. Give me your score predictions right now.